It's funny to think about it now, but I just grew to hate the season. I hated the aluminum trees. I hated their colored rotator wheels. I hated searching for the perfect gift for the deeply flawed individual. I hated the syllable ho when it came in groups of 3. I hated the little drummer boy. If I had awakened a baby by pounding on a drum, my mama would have beaten me with my own drumsticks.
How you doing?
I am doing great. Jaston Williams, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Well, it's great. It's great to be working again. It's great to be, coming out from under the rocks after COVID.
Oh, absolutely, man. And I mean, it's great to be able to go back to the theater and see you guys do what you love. We definitely love seeing it.
Well, I opened the show last weekend in Fredericksburg, and it felt great. And you can tell that audiences are hungry for it and anxious and welcoming, and we all missed it. And,
Absolutely. I was going to say, more than ever, we need to laugh. So this is perfect timing.
Lord have mercy. Yes, we really need to laugh. We really need to laugh. And Christmas just begs to be mocked.
Oh,
it just asks. Christmas just asks for it.
Oh, I could not agree more. I was actually laughing when I first saw the name of the show, Blood and Holly. All I could think of was, man, this sounds like the reason we had to ban alcohol at some of our Christmas parties when I was growing up. Oh my God.
Well, the scary thing about Christmas is that people get together for no other reason than they have to. You get together with people that you likely do not care for in the least.
True story. And, not quite the Hallmark version.
Oh, I know. When we did the tuna shows, tuna Christmases especially, I always told Joe, I said, that Christmas Day show is something else, Christmas Eve too, because you can be with your family for 3 hours and not have to talk to them.
That's so true. That is so true. Oh my goodness. Well, let's go ahead and jump right in. Blood and Holly, A Christmas West of the Pecos. What is Blood and Holly? What are people going to be seeing when they check out this new show?
Well, it's a real mix. The original piece was an essay I wrote called Blood and Holly about Christmas growing up in West Texas, and about my mother, who was an amazing and wonderful creature. But boy, Christmas really bothered her. And she would go through a profound personality change with the first sprig of holly. It made her nervous. I always said, we would go from Rebecca's Sunnybrook farm to Franco, Spain in a matter of minutes. He was really nervous and really determined that everybody's going to have a good time, based on exactly what she defined as a good time. And I was the youngest child in my family. And, when you have children, I've noticed something with people who have a sizable number of children, that the youngest gets away with a lot, but they also they don't want you to really grow up. They'll pull stuff with the youngest child that they won't pull with the older ones, because they're just not quite through parenting. And my mother went to her grave, telling me to straighten that tie. And but But so we, I always called it Blood and Holly. And then when I wrote the Tuna Christmas, boy, Christmas turned around because I didn't have to go home. I could skip it. I would send her jewelry. I got the payoff. She got great jewelry every Christmas, but I was nowhere in sight. And I had some of the better Christmases of my life in hotels. I really had great Christmases. I remember one year we were in Atlanta and the show was doing great, and we decided to splurge, and we stayed. Joe and I both stayed at the Ritz-Carlton, and I got a big suite, and they brought up. I called downstairs, said, "You got an extra Christmas tree anywhere?" They said, "We'll bring one right up." And it was one of, we had young kids there watching the Grinch, and the meal was catered, and it was a really wonderful way to do a Christmas in a nice hotel. And so now I do Christmas at home with my husband and our son, and it's really quite nice. But my husband's from the Midwest, so he doesn't have malice. He has no malice. I have to do malice for the family. He has none.
I know what that's like, man. I absolutely know what that's like.
Even fake it, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's when I heard about this show, I got really, really excited because, man, I've got family members that have never missed a show anytime you have come through town. And so this definitely brought me some bragging rights. I mean, like, you're never going to believe who I'm going to be talking to. This is great.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for them to see this show because, a lot of what you're saying, it definitely mirrors a lot of what I was growing up with. Because, like, my mom was almost like the godfather of the family. And yeah, Christmas was her favorite holiday. It's going to be done right. It's going to be huge. We're going to have a great time. And again, I'm the baby of the family, so I get all you're saying about the...
You get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mother one year was back in the 60s when flocked Christmas trees became the thing, and you would buy these flocking kits, and go outside in the freezing cold with a water hose and flock a tree, covered it with, with snow. And Mother went to Neiman Marcus and bought all of these stuffed cardinals. So the tree only had cardinals on it. Our cat had a complete nervous breakdown. He cried. Those birds drove him. We'd have to go, get the cat, get the cat, get the cat.
Oh my God.
When you come, he's stalking the tree.
Well, I love the honesty that you're with the stories that you're going to bring to this show. I really do. Because, I think people respond to that a lot better than what Hallmark thinks that we do, because it's so relatable, because we all go through this, whether people want to admit it or not.
We all go through it, and it is a season that you can truly take your time and mine the humor out of it. You can truly mine the humor out of Christmas. It begs for it. It's asking for it. And I have one scene. I had a friend, or still a friend, but she told me, and I get ideas for performance from, something somebody will say. And she told me, she said, I could always tell when there'd been the first hard freeze in Waco, because I had two old maid aunts, and once the first hard freeze had happened, they wouldn't have any eyebrows because they've been lighting those gas stoves. And they'd turn on the gas for the matches, and she said, so they had no eyebrows, and they would paint them on, and they always looked like they were real interested in what you were doing.
That's priceless. That's so priceless.
I couldn't let that go, so I had to bring them in. And again, the kind of tension that can arise at Christmas and that can get really and then it can turn on a dime and all of a sudden bring out the kindness in people. I got one character who he got 5 gifts and 4 of them are cologne, and he's paranoid that he smells bad. He's just having it the whole time. He thinks people are dropping hints. You know, he's a wreck. He can't sleep, you know. One of the things that inspired this show was that, you know, I kept getting these Christmas letters from people where they give you 4 pages, you know, Aunt Minard has bunions, and, you know, Buster died on Halloween. He hadn't barked in 3 years, and, you know, and I thought, no, there's humor there. And a few years ago, I did a fake Christmas letter from a fake family and sent it to some people I know, and I gave false addresses and everything, and just waited to hear. Just waited to hear from them. And finally my sister called and said, "Did you send this Christmas letter?" I said, "Yes." So I've created a whole scene with this woman who's writing her Christmas letter and dealing with the phone calls and the season. She has a brother who keeps dating women that are way too young for him. She's on the phone with him. She says, "You know," she said, "you're dating a woman named Sheena? Really? Sheena?" She said, "There's a pattern here." He's, "What kind of pattern?" He said, "You've had girlfriends named Sunspot and Borealis and Loot." Said, "There is a pattern here. There is a pattern here. And the next time you come home, you need to be in the company of someone named Betty Jean." So, but she's a wonderful character. I really love her. And she's, you know, I kind of tossed her in for the tuna fans. You know, I thought they're going to want to see something like that. She's probably good friends with Dee Dee Snavely. They probably were pen pals when they were little.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Like, I will say, you have mastered solo shows. Do you ever still get up there and get nervous, be going, "Man, this is all me"? You know, I mean, do you ever get in your head about it?
You know, I haven't. I wrote a piece about stage fright some years ago when I was first started doing one-person shows, and since then I've never had stage fright. It's amazing. But I mean, once you're up there, you know, it's a choice, and you know, I would be scared if I didn't work hard enough on it, if I'd blown something off. But you just it doesn't scare me. I'm very much. I walked into the back door of the theater for 40 something years now, nearly 50 years. And so it's a very comfortable place for me. I'm very, very, very comfortable on that side of the lights. And I just love it. And I love the Grand Opera House. I love and I have played palaces and toilets, okay? I have had every kind of venue you can imagine. Oh Lord God, I've played some dubs. But the Grand takes you back to another time. It takes you back over a century. The people that run it are like family to me. And in fact, several years ago, our press people, we were in Austin, and they were doing a big thing in the Austin paper, and they asked Joe and I, it was when we were doing Tuna, to name our favorite theaters that we like to work in. And so I named the Grand first and the Paramount in Austin the second. And they switched it around when they printed it, and it made me madder than hell.
Wow.
And I said, "No, don't do that." You know, and it's not that I don't love the Paramount, I do, but I have some kind of special affection for the Grand. And, you know, it's kind of the same when you go. My favorite theater in New York is the Lyceum, because I've never seen a bad play at the Lyceum. Now, sooner or later, somebody's going to get up there and lay an egg. But so far, every time I've gone to the Lyceum Theater, it's been a great show. And so you build an affection for certain places. But yeah, I love the Grand. I really do.
It is.
And Maureen, who runs the Grand, she knows where the bodies are buried.
Oh, I believe
He does.
I believe that.
What you need in the producer.
So I know that we're on a little limited time here, but that's all right. I wanted to at least finish with, why do you think people need to come and check out Blood and Holly?
Well, I hope they can come and check it out so that they can know that life is going on. You know, life's going on. We've all been deprived of a lot. And these are tough and rugged times. They're greatly divided times. And I've tried very hard in this show to be funny and to be kind and to still make my points, you know? And last week we played Fredericksburg, which is a pretty conservative place. And we only had one old lady walk out. So Okay, you only lost one.
That's not a bit of body count, man. That's
She went home and laughed at the joke later, you know, but she had to. she had to make a show of it. But I just want to, the whole thing about this play is that it really is a slice of America as we know it, and our better angels, you know, our better angels. And we need our better angels right now, and we need to, we need to reach. It's wonderful looking out there and going, you know, there are probably a lot of people out there that I don't agree with, but we are having a great time. They are letting me into their minds. They're letting me entertain them, and they are giving it back to me. And that, to me, is just America at its best. You know, it's just America at its best. As long as I don't have my mama.
Well, Jaston, I don't think there's a better way to put that at all. Well, there you got it, guys. Blood and Holly, Christmas West of the Pecos is going to be hitting Saturday, November 20th at the Grand 1894 Opera House. Tickets are on sale at thegrand.com now. Jaston, thank you so much for talking with us. You have been a delight.
It's my pleasure. And we have two shows at the Grand. We have a matinee and an evening. So, I've become a matinee person in my old age. So, have them both. So, well, thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely.
And I hope we'll see you at the show.
Absolutely.
Bring your relatives.
Yes.
Okay.
Have a great day.
And you.
Thank you.
I hated the Andy Williams Christmas special. I could tell him where to stick a roasted chestnut. I really hated Burl Ives. Have a holly jolly Christmas. I defy anybody to listen to that song 3 times in a row and not go doctor shopping for Oxycontin.